There were two girls named Kimmy and Susie. They had been best friends ever since they started school together. When they went to university, the girls shared the same dorm room. Kimmy slept on the top bunk and Susie slept in the bottom bunk. One day, Kimmy came back from school and Susie wasn't in the room. She tried to call her friend, but Susie's phone was either out of coverage or switched off. She looked around the room and noticed that all of Susie's things were still there and her suitcase was still sitting on the top of the wardrobe. Kimmy began to get worried. She kept sending text messages saying, "Please call me," and "Are you okay?" But there was no reply. The next morning, when Susie still hadn't shown up, Kimmy called all their friends, but none of them had seen her. She kept calling Susie's phone, but there was no answer. Finally, Kimmy sent a message asking, "Where are you? I'm really worried about you. Please, text me back." That night, when Kimmy was laying in bed, she received a text message. It was from Susie. It simply read, "Back to back." Kimmy was stunned. She couldn't understand what the message meant. As she was puzzling over it, she noticed there was a strange, sickly sweet smell in the room. She began to look around, searching for the source of the stench. She pulled things out of the wardrobe, but she couldn't find anything that could be causing the smell. She pulled down Susie's suitcase and opened it, but it was empty. Turning around, she looked at Susie's bed. With trembling fingers, she reached out and pulled the covers off the bottom bunk, but there was nothing there. Then, Kimmy happened to glance up and let out a horrified scream. She found herself face to face with the rotting corpse of Susie. It turned out that an intruder had broken into their dorm room. Susie had accidentally stumbled across him during the robbery. He murdered her and hid her body by strapping it to the underside of the top bunk. Every night the girls had been laying back to back. Down around 14th and 9th, there's an alley between a parkade and a small office building. Unlike many downtown alleys, this one is clear of parking and transients. In fact, there never seems to be anyone in it at all. There's never a car cutting through to avoid traffic, never any teenagers looking for somewhere quiet. Despite the presence of loading docks and parking spaces, it's as desolate as downtown can be. If you walk down this alley in the winter, you'll smell rotting meat coming from a dumpster and hear sounds emanating from it that sound like rats. But if you look inside the dumpster, you'll find that it's empty, other than a plain tin bread box. The bread box will, despite being of a kind not manufactured for decades, be in mint condition. If you open the box, which you should never do under any circumstances, you will discover that it contains your own severed head. Your head will tell you 2 secrets and a lie. Then it will expire. Every family in every town, in every country, on every continent has one. It's a cabinet. Not particularly odd, not out of place. The paint was peeling a bit on the corners and the knob was a bit loose. The inside smelled like dust and the paint wasn't the same as the kitchen walls. You hid in there once during a game of hide and seek. No one told you it doesn't open back into your reality. Don't worry, you can't tell the difference, but everybody misses you. You're at work alone when you suddenly hear the copy machine start. You walk out to take a look at what's going on and see several copies filling the tray. Picking up one of the pieces of paper, you discover that it is a copy of a picture depicting you sitting in your office chair, dead. with your eyes torn out and your throat cut. The others are the same picture, but taken from increasingly bizarre angles. There is no original picture in the copy machine. In fact, the machine has been out of toner for at least a week. I lived alone with my dogs in a brownstone in a gated community in uptown Dallas. I worked a few miles away but came home every day for lunch to let my dogs out. After living there for about a year, I started smelling men's cologne, really strong, in my entryway and up my stairs. I figured it was my neighbor next door and I didn't think anything of it. Then one day I found a dollar bill folded lengthwise on top of my purse. I never carry cash, nor have I ever folded a dollar bill lengthwise. Thought it was weird. A few weeks later I came home and both my dogs were standing in front of my bedroom door wagging their tails and staring at the door. I figured they wanted to lay on my bed, but I was in a hurry and walked them real fast and then went back to work. When I came home that day, there were 20 or so dollar bills folded lengthwise and placed neatly around various surfaces in my room. Never in my life have I been so terrified. I grabbed my dogs and noped the fuck out of that place as fast as I could. I called the cops, they came out, my locks were changed, but I could never be there alone again. I moved a month or so later. When I moved, I found dollar bills taped to the back of pictures on my walls, under furniture and random places. I never figured out who or why or even how. I think the scariest thing of all is knowing that day when I was home, whoever had been going into my house was waiting quietly in my room, folding dollar bills, and my little dogs knew it. You're slowly stirred awake by the distant ringing as the phone beside your bed pulls you out of your dreams. Your thoughts gather themselves and you groan, reaching over to answer. As soon as you place the phone to your ear, you're greeted by the background noise consisting of twisted screams. People in agonizing pain begging for help or death. Not that the interference allows you to hear any individual voice clearly enough. Get out of the house now. The call ends abruptly after what you could have sworn was a voice from closer to you than on the other end. You shift yourself to the side of the bed, sighing while rubbing your eyes. A call this startling and this early in the morning would keep you awake. Your wife shuffles to the side, apparently also woken by the call. She wraps her arms around you and gives you a light kiss on the neck. Don't worry about it, her half-asleep mumble calms you down somewhat. Just as you're about to place the phone down, it rings again. You fumble slightly and drop it. Instead, you feel your wife's arms tighten around you, preventing you from leaning forward. It's then you notice a subtle difference between the arms around you and the familiarity of your wife's. He's too late to save you anyway. We've all felt it. You're up late, working, studying, watching a movie, reading on the computer. Doesn't matter what you're doing, it's the feeling you get. You're tired, your eyes burn and have that gritty feeling you get after not sleeping for a while. Okay, you can't crawl into bed right now, but close your eyes for a couple minutes. Try to get a little moisture back into your eyes. That couldn't hurt anything, right? Then you're falling, like stepping off a cliff. You're in a free fall, though your body isn't even moving. Then like a bungee cord snapping back, you're jerking awake, heart thumping a little faster, blinking quickly, wondering what just happened. Doctors call it a hypnagogic jerk, a natural reaction, they say, to your brain thinking you're dying, when your breathing and heart rate slows as you fall asleep. What the doctors don't know is your brain is right. Every time you let yourself nod off, every time you feel that falling sensation, you're not falling, you're being pulled down. And one day, your brain won't be able to pull you back up. They will have you. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons. And I'll see you all next time.